Hey, what's up you guys, Rolandas here. If you're new to the channel, I had hair transplant done with Dr. Bruno Ferreira in Portugal, implanted 3659 grafts, only in the front where I was like pretty much 99% bald. So yeah, whatever you see right now, it's pretty much transplanted. And I'm currently 11.5 months after my surgery, so it's almost full result. But yeah, I'm gonna make another update, so stay tuned. On this channel, I'm showing my hair transplant in the various light conditions, weather conditions, etc. So, you know, you can see how it actually looks in reality. Because I've seen so many people that just, posting pictures or videos with a perfect light condition or perfect angles, etc. Or even like in the dark like spaces, And in reality, it's a little bit misleading. Some people can think, oh, why my hair transplant looks thin, but this guy online, I've seen it looks pretty thick. Doesn't make any sense, because hair transplant is just illusion of that. If you are like me and you don't like bullshit and you like to see everything what's the reality about hair transplant, about hair loss, I'm also talking about different hair loss treatments, etc. And also different tips and tricks for hair transplant. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and let's just dive into the video. Today I want to talk about why I chose Dr. Ferreira. Some people have been asking me, so why exactly did you choose Dr. Ferreira? And I realized I never actually covered it on my channel. And it's a legit question. Because if you think about it, before I went to Dr. Ferreira, he was not really well known. He's still not well known, but he's building more and more, like an online presence, let's say. There's more and more people who are going to him, which is great. But back then, over a year ago, nobody really knew about him, and there was no cases at all that you could find. So why did I choose him? Well, to answer this, we have to go all the way back to when I actually started my research, and you will understand why. And at first I obviously was looking at Turkey, especially Istanbul, and I skimmed pretty much through whole Turkey, and I know there's at this point there's roughly 400 or so clinics in Istanbul alone, so many, so it was overwhelming. I remember I was doing my research, I was seeing all of these clinics, 10, 20, 30 different clinics, and I don't really understand what's the actual difference. All of them are offering the same service, like hair transplant. Why there's so many of them? So I stopped looking into the clinics and I started actually looking at the hair transplant itself, how is it done? What's the differences in between different clinics or surgeons or whatever? I quickly realized that hair transplant is pretty much like a form of art. And there's a lot of painters, everyone can paint something, but there is not many artists, if it makes sense. So then I find out that in order for a hairline, for your hair transplant hairline look natural, it should be created only with a single, fine or even single hair grafts, not just a regular single, but fine single, taken from around the ears, from behind the neck, on the nape of the neck, and so on and so forth. There are different hairline designs that are age appropriate, and and so on and so forth. So many different nuances. But that's when I started looking closer at the results that I'm looking at. At that time, when I was already searching YouTube, I already learned a lot. I already skimmed through most of the clinics, and on my shortlist was Dr. Demirsoy, which was charging 1.25 euro per graft at that time, and he's doing all the surgery by himself, one patient a day obviously, so it was pretty good. I kind of didn't rush to it, and then I kept looking for more. Then I found Dr. Bhatti in India, which was similar price range, was around 1 euro per graft or something, which was actually my budget. It was my absolute max budget. For around 4,000 grafts, I could pay 4,000 to 5,000 euros. That was the top I could spend, nothing more. I still was a little bit hesitant. So I kept looking and looking and looking, and I was chatting with so many different clinics. I was like chatting at some maybe with 30 or so clinic at the same time. And then I found Dr. Pekiner, which was charging 2 euro 15 per graft. And he stood out a lot. He's doing one surgery a day, but if the patient needs, let's say, 3,000-4,000 grafts, he would do a surgery not in one day, he would do in 2 or 3 even days. So I was thinking, interesting, why he's doing it? Why some surgeons are just packing everything in one go, and some of them they're just taking it slower. So then I again keep more researching, and then I find out wait a second, so it actually makes sense. If you would take 5,000 grafts in one go, in one surgery, in 1 or even 2 days, and apparently there's gonna be some scalp condition that will prevent your grafts from growing. So your hair transplant gonna be pretty much failed, and it's not because of the clinic, it's just because of your scalp. It can happen even in the best hands. hair transplant can be a failure. So I realized I need to probably take it a bit slower because I've got one head, I've got one donor, I've got pretty big area, which is Norwood 5A, and with the possibility to go even further to Norwood 6 because of my family history. So I was like super cautious. I was like, listen, wait a second, I don't want to get it done in the wrong way because at that point I've seen so much horror stories that I decided I gonna do my best not to be one of them. So I was talking with Dr. Peckner at the same time, but it was taking like ages for them to reply. And in the meantime, I obviously was looking to some more and started watching Dr. Jose Lorenzo in Spain videos. And if you see on his channel, he has like a ton of videos. He has so many like documented cases throughout the years. It's crazy, and all of them are pretty much good. Like every single case that you're gonna look at are really good. And sometimes he's even putting like cases that are like not 100% good. Like there's some failures, like 50% graft grew, for example, for various reasons, and he's still putting it. So he's basically legitimate, surgeon. I tried to find out his price. I found he's charging €5 per graft, which was way out of my reach. And then I found there was a doctor called Ximena Villa that was working with Dr. Lorenzo at that time. And then I found out that she actually left his clinic and started working for herself. So I contacted her and she's charging like €2.5 per graft. I was like, oh, that's great. Like, okay, if she was working with him, she must be pretty good. Especially if she decided to branch out and, do on her own. That's basically what Dr. Peckner did as well in HLC. Some of the recent videos, they started putting not Ximena Villa, they started putting Dr. Bruno Ferreira. So I was like, wow, okay, so there's another doctor that is working with Jose Lorenzo in his clinic. So I was thinking, if she was good enough, and she left, and she's good, and she produces really amazing results, maybe it's worth to look at Dr. Bruno Ferreira as well. Maybe he's gonna be like cheaper, maybe he's good as well, who knows. So I started looking, there was no really much information online, but I contacted him as well on the email, and he replied to me maybe like in 2 weeks or something. And the answer that I received from him was pretty surprising because it was standing out so much compared to any other like generic responses that I was getting. So I started obviously exchanging emails with him, with different questions as well, back and forth. And in the same time I was exchanging emails with Ximena Villa, with Dr. Peckner. Results that are being produced by Dr. Peckner and Dr. Villa and Lorenzo are way above what I've ever seen in any Turkish, clinic that are charging like a 1, 2, 3,000 euro, all grafts included, whatever it is, And I realized like if someone is doing one surgery a day, you're gonna have much more chances of consistency and to get best possible result that you can get. So I decided to wait longer to save more money and not to rush. In the meantime, I was talking with Dr. Ferreira. I obviously still couldn't find any results, so I was like keep asking him like, so why I cannot find any results? Can you provide any? So it turns out he was doing hair transplant for like what? I don't remember exactly, but I think roughly 10 years or so. And he always was working for someone, like in someone's clinic. So he never had any right to any results. And whatever he showed me was looking really, really interesting. Especially there was one case that was looking similar to mine, Norwood 5A. And the end result was pretty good. And obviously I was watching the Bold Truth Show by Spencer Coburn and Joe Tillman pretty much on a weekly basis because I learned so much from it. I was like listening to their podcast again non-stop 24/7. I was downloading every podcast like from like 2 years ago. I'm putting on my phone, and while I'm traveling I'm just like listening, if I'm not reading something. I called into the show and I asked Joe Tillman and Spencer Coburn what do they think about Dr. Ferreira. Just like why not? Because I respect their opinion. They're pretty, knowledgeable in terms of hair transplant, and they really know a lot of surgeons all across the world. So maybe they know something about him, who knows? And to my surprise, they actually said this.
What's your opinion on doctor from Portugal, Bruno Ferreira?
Joe? I think that he's an up-and-comer.
Yeah, I think that he's potentially one of the future top names in the industry.
But I think that the work that I'm seeing is so top-notch that absolutely bring him on as an associate. And I'd like to see young, fresh faces who really care about what they're doing kind of be the new leaders in this field.
If he's smart about his decisions in this industry, then the potential is there for him to be one of the greats. That's what I feel about him and his talent.
So after I heard that, it was much more reassuring that he has actually a pretty good doctor, even though there's not really many cases to look at compared to others. Then I scheduled with Dr. Ferreira live, like a video consultation basically. So he agreed with like a 15 minutes of video chat with me. It was funny actually because it was not 15 minutes. We spent almost like 45 minutes talking about it because I'm a hair transplant nerd, and like I have got so many questions and everything, and I really wanted to find out what is his plan to do for me in my specific case, was his best, opinion. It was really surprising. None of the other surgeons would like ever do something like this, at least that I've seen. I really had a really strong gut feeling, and I keep watching Dr. Lorenzo's videos, and in the beginning of every video they always popping out Lorenzo, Ferreira, and there's another doctor, and every single video. So I was like thinking, wait, so if he is working there, he does not own the right for the pictures or the videos, which means like some of his job should be in these videos. Like, you following me? So then I watched pretty much every single video, like the latest for the last 2 years, and all of them consistently were amazing. Like, I never seen any like a bat over Harris donor. Listen, if he's good enough for Dr. Lorenzo, like Joe Tillman, Spencer Coburn said, he's like the up-and-comer. They think his work is absolutely stellar. I kind of put together 2 + 2, like it kind of makes sense, but also it can be dodgy. So I was thinking about it for a couple of weeks while still chatting with other doctors and clinics, and then I skimmed out Dr. Pekiner because he proposed to me beard grafts on my first surgery, and I really didn't feel like using beard grafts on my first surgery because it doesn't make any sense. Like, the beard grafts, they look completely different. Why would he even do it? And he's even charging more for it, so it didn't make sense to me. I prefer like scalp hair because I have got lots of it and it looks pretty good. And then Ximena Villa, they've been taking ages to reply, and my possible day of surgery was pushing forward and forward and forward. I just felt it's completely wrong. Although what I've heard right now, Dr. Ferreira is doing the same. He's like so busy, so overwhelmed. So many people are sending him like requests for consultations. But on another hand, Dr. Ferreira, I had a very strong and good like gut feeling, and I realized like, okay, I cannot really spend even more. I already raised my absolutely max budget to 2.5 euro per graft, and I cannot spend any more, and I can make maximum like up to 4,000 grafts. I already been saving forever. Yeah, and then I decided basically what Dr. Ferreira proposed was kind of aligning very well with my idea of what I need. It was pretty much the same. I didn't want the beard grafts. He never proposed. He said I'll need 2-step strategy instead of 1. He wants to do in 2 days instead of 1, 3,500 grafts that we agreed on, etc. So everything was like kind of perfect, I don't know, for me personally. So I decided to take this leap of faith, so-called, and and just book it and get it done. Like, it's strange when you don't see any result online from legitimate people on the forums or whatever, but there is a lot of kind of good information, and the result that you see, very few results you see, they're looking really good. It's a very strange situation to be in, but I somehow decided to take this leap because I was feeling really good about it. I really had a really strong gut feeling, and turns out, as you can see, I think it's a home run. Considering my hair type, my hair characteristics and everything, what other surgeons suggested to me, 4,000 grafts all over my top, it would be not nearly as enough as it's required right now. So I already had 3,600 grafts only in the front, and it's not perfect, It's pretty good, it's amazing transformation, but it's still not perfect. And I would need another 2,000 grafts on my midscalp and crown. So, I'm really happy, to be honest, that I made this decision. And that's why I'm going back actually to him. I scheduled my second surgery on 3rd and 4th of June this year, obviously. And I'm also asked for to put myself on a cancellation list. So if someone gonna cancel surgery, they gonna possibly fit me in somehow. I don't know. Hopefully it's gonna happen. So, anyways, that's pretty much my story. Like, I think I've outlined everything, the reasons why and how I found him. I understand it's a little bit too long, but it's also too short to put everything, if it makes sense. Like, I tried to put very big, story into one little video. So sorry if this video was a little bit too long, but I hope I answered and kind of it makes sense for you why I decided to go with Dr. Ferreira. And once again, I'm absolutely happy that I went with him, and I'm going back for a second one. And at this point, from what I've seen that other people had the transplants done with him that reach out to me, like, he's really consistent with his hairlines designs and like single grafts in the front. Like, his hairlines are one of the most natural hairlines I've ever seen. I'm no joke. Like, if you go on the forum, so many people are like showing my hairlines, like, and they saying like, it's difficult not to recommend this doctor if you're looking at his hairline. So, you know, I appreciate that, and I hope you're not gonna screw my hairline on my second transplant. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. It's gonna help me a lot. Like the video, comment down below. It helps for the algorithm to reach more people. So more people gonna see it, and they're not gonna, you know, get botched in bad clinics, basically. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.